Hey VC, I hope everybody's doing well. This is Will, and this is my very first non-vinyl update. And I know it may not sound very VC-ish, but I do still buy a lot of stuff out there that is not vinyl, so I was just gonna show that to you anyways. And first of all, I picked up Flexi disc from one of my new favorite bands, and you've heard me talk about this band before. The band is Lemuria, as the indie rock band from upstate New York. And they put out this little single on a Flexi disc, which is basically a postcard, as you can see, with a little message from the band from the holidays. And it bands like this. They were selling them for $5 on their website. And it's really cool to have, almost like as a novelty. I don't know if you can see the grooves here of the song. There's like one song as in a single here. And the song is called Hot Cocoa for One. And it's cool to have really as a novelty if you're a big fan of Lemuria like me, but I can't really recommend it if you're not a fan, because for a few reasons. First of all, to me it was a little bit difficult to play when dropping the needle right on the grooves of the song due to the weird shape of the postcard, and also there's a lot of surface noise, considering that this is just a postcard, so the audio quality is not really very good. And finally, the song is really not their best. It's obviously one of the B-sides or one of the songs left over from their previous albums. So I can't really recommend it if you're not a big Lemuria fan already. What I can recommend you is to pick up one of their full-length albums. All of them are good, so definitely pick up something by Lemuria. And if you're a fan, pick up this one just as a novelty. Next, I picked up an ebook, and yes, I do read a lot of my books on the electronic form, basically because they're cheaper to get in electronic form, and I don't mind reading it on the iPad, and that way I can save some money so I can buy music instead. And I picked up Punk Rock Blitzkrieg, My Life as a Ramone by Marky Ramone. And obviously it's one of the last surviving members of the Ramones. He was actually their second drummer, and this is a very, very good book to read. A lot of really cool stories from the new wave and punk rock scene in New York in the late 70s and early 80s. A lot of cool stories also from before he was Ramone, when he was in other bands like Dust and Richard Hell and the Voidoids. A lot of cool stories, really a lot of insights from that kind of scene in New York in that kind of in that decade. And what really caught my attention in a lot of these stories were, well, besides the fact that the Ramones were really a very dysfunctional band, there were a lot of cool stories that when the Ramones opened for a lot of heavy metal bands in the early 80s or in the late 70s probably, they opened for bands like Black Sabbath and bands like Aerosmith, and in many cases in those shows they were booed off stage. And it's kind of hard to believe for such an influential band like the Ramones that to happen to them, but that actually happened according to Marky Ramone, and that's because they were playing in an audience full of metalheads, and at that point punk rock really wasn't that very popular, and there was a lot of conflict between the metalheads and the punk rockers. So there's a lot of cool stories about that. There's a lot of also a cool story about Sting, and a cool story about Steven Tyler too. So definitely worth to pick up. Again, Punk Rock Blitzkrieg, My Life as a Ramone by Marky Ramone. Great book. Next, I picked up a few CDs from Goodwill. It's become my favorite place to pick up CDs because you can find them for cheap, and if you're lucky, you can find something really good. First, I picked up Pink Floyd's The Division Bell. This one is from 1994. And to be honest, I haven't listened to this CD or this album before, and I am very, very impressed. I love this album by Pink Floyd. I've listened to almost all the Floyd albums before, except this one, and I really, really liked it. I wasn't really a big fan of the lyrics, to be honest, but the music is just incredible. Definitely worth picking it up, and probably gonna try to find it on vinyl too. Great album by Pink Floyd. Next, another CD from Goodwill. The Cure, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. And this one is from 1987. And I'm a big fan of The Cure, so I had to pick this one up. It has a lot of the hits, like Just Like Heaven, Why Can't I Be You, and Hot, Hot, Hot. So a lot of good songs in here. It has a lot of, like I said, the big hits of The Cure. I still like the Blood Flowers a little bit better, but this one is still one of my favorite top Cure albums. Next, I picked up, also from Goodwill, Joy Division, Substance. Sorry for the glare. This is a collection of songs from 1977 to 1980, and similar to the one of The Cure, a lot of the hits in this CD, like Atmosphere, Love Will Tear Us Apart, She's Lost Control, and different versions of songs from their previous albums. So really good album by Joy Division. This is one of my favorite to listen to them, by them. And this one is from 1980, compilation of hits. And finally, one of the things that I wanted to mention about the Joy Division CD and the Cure CD is the little disclaimer that they have here in the back of the record, here in the Cure's album, and also in the same disclaimer here in the Joy Division album. And I took a picture of it that you'll see right now. So I actually posted that picture in the VC Facebook page, and I got a lot of insightful information about that disclaimer. And the story is apparently in the early stages of the CD, when they were just coming out in the 80s, there were a lot of limitations when transferring the music from the analog tapes into the CD in digital form. So apparently there were a lot of people that were complaining about the sound difference, or the sound quality difference between vinyl and the CD. So the record labels decided to put that little disclaimer here in the back of the CD. I just thought it was an interesting thing to know. And another limitation about the early CDs that came out in the 80s is that actually the CDs couldn't hold apparently that as many songs as they do now. In many cases, the vinyl version could hold more songs than the CDs in the 80s. In particular, in this one, in Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me by The Cure, apparently they had to cut one song from the vinyl version in order to make it fit on the CD. And I just thought that was also another interesting thing to know about the early stages of the CDs. And I'm gonna see if I can find this Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me by The Cure on the vinyl version of it, so I can have the full version of the album to hear it as a whole. But anyways, I just thought it was an interesting thing to know about these two CDs from the 80s. And again, that's really all I had to show you for today for this first non-vinyl update. And one thing that I wanted to also let you guys know is that I finally reached the 100 subscribers in my channel, and I'm very happy about that. So thank you so much for subscribing. It's really exciting. It's really amazing to see how many people are following here in my channel. So thank you so much for that. And I'm probably gonna do a contest about the 100 subscribers pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. And that's all I had for today. Again, I hope everybody has a great week next week. Thanks, VC, and take care. Bye bye.